Mediocre Rumble Brothers. Three, two, one.
All right, welcome to Mediocre Rumor Brothers. We're going to be starting off with a Pikmin overview. But before we start, let's go ahead and make sure you guys are subscribed on our YouTube channel as well as following us on Rumble. So since Udon has a lot more familiarity with this game than I do, this game was released for GameCube back on October 26th of 2001. Udon, take it away.
Released. That's a new word I haven't heard before.
Released.
I'm familiar with released. But yes, we're doing Pikmin today. I know we said we were doing Minecraft, but we're not anymore. So that's it.
Deal with it.
That's it.
Dead and buried. So he pivoted over to Pikmin as something nice and, well, not necessarily easy, but quick to do. As Jordan just said,
relates to spring as well.
I guess. Hey, yeah, there you go. There you go. Way to reel it in. Yeah, good job. Good. A+. So
that's our show.
As Jordan said, the game was released in October 26, 2001, but that was the Japanese release date. We in the North Americas did not get it until December 3rd of 2001. Was released for the GameCube. Was one of the earlier games for the GameCube. Was not a launch title, but it was one of the earlier games and kind of one of the more iconic games on the GameCube, since this is obviously the first game of the Pikmin franchise, which is 4 games deep, and Olimar has been featured in Smash Brothers since Brawl, I believe. I am a huge fan of Pikmin. This combined with Super Mario Sunshine was the biggest reasons I wanted a GameCube when I was a kid, simply because I saw it in Nintendo Power. I really liked the colors. I really liked how the Pikmin looked. I just liked the art style. I liked the concept of controlling 100 of these little dudes on the screen, because at the time that was a huge deal, seeing all the amount of like little creatures you can get on the screen at one time.
Wasn't that the tech demo for GameCube as well, to show how many Marios were?
So yes, fun fact, right? So I believe, I don't have specifics on this, but this is how it went. I believe when Miyamoto was pitching this game originally, he had like a cute story about how he was inspired to make Pikmin because he liked being in his garden and, like seeing the bugs and stuff go around, and kind of got inspired by that. Kind of similar reasons to like the creator of Pokemon, like having a fun reason why you're creating this new IP, right? And they ran with that for Pikmin 1 and 2, I think, until eventually I think it came out that they themselves admitted that was all bullshit and it was only for marketing purposes. Pikmin was literally born out of a desire to use that Mario 128 demo where they just showed a bunch of Marios running around in a GameCube to show off the GameCube's power. Which is also why when people was like, hey, what happened to Mario 128? Because it's like, and Miyamoto will look at him weird and be like, you've already seen it. It's Pikmin. Like, that's what it turned into. So Pikmin was born out of the GameCube tech demo just for a reason to show off all the little creatures you can get on the screen. You'll see it in the footage as we're talking, like how many, we can have up to 100 Pikmin plus Olimar plus, probably a handful of creatures on the screen at the same time. So that's a little bit of Pikmin's background. Pikmin is a real-time strategy game, technically speaking. Real-time strategy puzzle solving is how I've seen it described on paper most of the time. And it's not wrong. It's just not nearly as precise as controlling something like Age of Empires or Civilization, stuff like that. You're only controlling the Pikmin in this giant, like, almost like School of Fish kind of style gameplay where they're just like this hive mind following Olimar around. But so unlike a lot of games we do, this game doesn't really have a heavy emphasis on story. The story is basically front loaded to you, and it sets up the entire premise of the game, and you just kind of play it till the end from there. I think just to get all the story out of the way, I have a fun little, because everyone remembers game cases, right? I have the Pikmin game case in front of me, and in game cases, we used to have these fun things called game manuals. And the game manuals usually had fun little extras on top of telling you how to play the game. And on the first 2 pages, it has a cute little illustration and little couple paragraphs of Olimar's like basically just setting up the story. So essentially, Olimar, this is him going on vacation because Olimar works as a freight delivery driver. Essentially, he's essentially a space trucker for his company. And this, when he went in the beginning, he's actually going on vacation to where the Dolphin, his spaceship, is struck by an asteroid over a unknown planet, which I forget what Olimar calls it. He does like give it a designation in the game, but it's just Earth. It's been confirmed to be Earth based on this and especially Pikmin 2. However, Olimar and the Pikmin aren't more than about an inch tall. They're very tiny, so everything in the game is very big. So you kind of have that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of aesthetic going on with a lot of the surroundings, with all these plants and stuff being huge compared to them. So the Dolphin, Olimar's ship, is struck by an asteroid and crash lands on the planet and breaks apart in the atmosphere, scattering his spaceship parts all around this like little area where he crash landed. And Olimar lands. He realizes his ship can't fly very far. His life support on his suit is only going to last him 30 days, and he needs to somehow find all the pieces and parts of his ship in order to get off the planet and not just suffocate to death when his life support fails. He comes across these little creatures called Pikmin. They seem very simple-minded creatures, let's just say. And they immediately kind of start following him as like chicks would as they imprint on someone when they first get born. And Olimar realizes he can command them, throw them around, tell them to move stuff, pick up stuff. And they kind of operate like ants do in the sense that it's all about the quantity, not the quality of them. More Pikmin can get more shit done. Like one Pikmin can do very little, but a whole mob of them can do a lot of stuff. So Olimar befriends the Pikmin, and he realizes he can use them to help get his ship parts back. And that's literally basically where the game opens up from there. I mean, it is very straightforward. You're not really fed any more story throughout the game, except at the end of each day, because the game takes place in a day system where you have about, I think it's 15 minutes, I believe, for every day to go by. But you only have 30 days. The game is on a time limit for you to get all these ship parts, and if you don't get at least 25 by the end of the 30 days, you'll lose the game. And to get the best ending, you have to get all 30 parts by the end of that. And yes, you have to get 30 parts. So it's about a part a day if you want to do it properly like that. But so it's all about time management, Pikmin management, growing Pikmin by bringing stuff back to their onion. And so I guess we'll start opening it up from there. We can talk about general overview of Pikmin, like it's like how everyone thinks about how it looks, just general comments on the game before we'll get into because there's only 4 levels to the game. We'll probably just talk about each of them in turn and then talk about the final boss because it really won't take us that long. Because again, the game is not long and it's meant to be played multiple times, increasing, seeing a marked improvement of your efficiency in managing the Pikmin and getting as much done in every day as you can. So let's just start with Jordan, since this is his first time playing Pikmin. Going into the game, Jordan, how did you feel about just the general aesthetics of the game, how it looked and how it felt to play and stuff like that?
It actually felt quite well. I was really impressed by the design of it. Everything was actually, they had put a lot of detail in the grass and the surroundings of it, even though we're talking about GameCube. But when I look at it myself compared to other GameCube games I've played before, it seemed like there was a lot of, basically just putting everything in picture form to where it wasn't really seeing as much detail. It looked like they definitely put a lot of care into this game with how they were manipulating your different ways of getting through these areas, whether they were enclosed or not. They would definitely look like they had put some details, like in the flowers and such. And with the character designs themselves, it actually looked also the same thing. Like being able to process that much character action at one time, being it back then, that was a lot of process power involved to do something like that. And that was very impressive to me to see, because again, as we were looking through the process of everything going about, Nintendo was kind of always a little bit behind with how much power that they could process compared to other systems. And the fact that this one was like the powerhouse itself, definitely showed itself there when you could just see everything moving around, very smooth, no really glitching or any sort of form where you'd tell that the frame rate is really lacking. It was definitely showing a lot of good form there. So for me, I was definitely impressed with what I was going about when starting the game versus finishing it. It was all a good feeling all the way through.
All right, and then moving on to Edwin, who I also believe has not played Pikmin before, but you are at least a little bit more aware of the franchise. How do you feel about just its general aesthetics and how it felt to play and stuff like that?
It was a little, it just a little bit confusing to get a hold of because there was like a lot of button controls near the end of the game. There was like trying to do too many things at once to controlling the direction that they go in, and also trying to tell them to like hurry up and get over here because like they're like in imminent danger, but they're like too slow or they don't immediately react to you calling them over. Like everything made sense, but it was just the response time for the Pikmin wasn't super great, especially when they get like really distracted on some things. So it's just like no matter how many times you call them over, they always like second guess your own command. So it's just really annoying to deal with that for a lot of parts of the game because just like they're super war hungry for whatever reason. So, but like the commanding of the Pikmin was just like the main problem. Everything else was a little bit more straightforward. Just like run around and explore, trying to find the parts, see how everything worked, and just like open up pathways for future travel. So I really like the concept of the game. It was just some parts of it were a little funky.
Yeah, this game definitely has its fair share of jank for sure. It is not control as well. I've also heard from. I have not played the Wii version, and to clarify, I think everyone here played the GameCube version, the original iteration of the game. Was that the version you played, Jordan, on
Yes.
your totally legit GameCube? Okay,
Very much.
So, and now you two and you, Corey and Edwin, you also played the GameCube, yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all
I
played.
still had my original copy from when I got it for like Christmas.
Yeah, so we all have played the original version because I've heard from a lot of people that the Wii version is like a superior port of the game, but we were playing in the original state without any kind of like TLC or like quality of life changes they may have implemented between this and like the Switch versions. So Corey, as you just said, you got this for Christmas a long time ago, so you've probably played this game before. Do you like Pikmin? Have you played anything past one? And how do you feel about its aesthetics and how it controls?
I think the game's visual quality is pretty like top notch. I think it aged well, especially when you pull the camera out. The texture compression is definitely noticeable because of the time frame, but I like the contrast between the characters and the environment. Everything kind of pops, so everything that you need to see really stands out, which is great. The level layout for the first area is really well done to get you kind of used to controlling these little dudes and everything. When I played it as a kid, I kind of didn't really like the game that much. It's the timer for me that was kind of like stressful. I didn't get all the ship parts the first time I played it. And I was just like, I was more into playing like Resident Evil 1 and things like that on GameCube and in like Metal Gear Solid. And so like this is such a different like type of game, but like going back and playing through it with Edwin, it was really fun to just kind of like micromanage, and it kind of hits a little bit more things that I've kind of grown to enjoy over the years in games, as like I've broadened my edgelord trench coat sunglasses like attitude towards video games to like just more fun factor stuff. So it really kind of aged better that way to me too, because of like it's such a unique like approach to an RTS game.
Alrighty, and I've already shared my thoughts on it. So we'll be moving forward level by level, with one exception going back to the impact site later because you do have it's like the only level you technically have to go back to. But we'll do a double. We'll start with talking about the tutorial, the impact site, and then the Forest of Hope, which is the first like real level of the game. So the first Pikmin you're introduced to is red Pikmin, which are arguably the second most useful Pikmin in the game. You only have 3 types in this game, and that became kind of like a staple of Pikmin sequels going forward, is introducing new types of Pikmin to use. The reds are immune to fire. They do 50% more damage than the other 2 Pikmin, and that's about it. That's their 2 advantages.
Real quick,
yes.
In the beginning of the game, since you've played this often, does it specifically tell you that they're fireproof?
I believe one of Olimar's journals at the end of the day, because every day you're going to get a journal note from Olimar, which is basically just drip feeding you, like just kind of like, it's not really, it's kind of like story, but it's more like, I don't know, it's just kind of like story set dressing, I guess. It's just kind of just, you're just seeing Olimar's reaction to like the world and how it operates and stuff. But I believe he might say in one of the notes that they are fireproof.
Because we
figured that out.
Yes.
we did not know that for the longest time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no offense, but I feel like if you see the fire hazards that you see for the first time in the naval
Segment.
or whatever,
Yeah.
I would imagine the red Pikmin might be immune to fire. At the very least, it's worth testing, I suppose.
Just yeeting one in to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured it out after burning a bunch of the others on accident.
Yeah, it was pretty damn funny, but because they were carrying apart. But yeah, either way, I was like, I don't think it ever told us they were fireproof.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask. That's why I wanted to ask him, because I was like, because we clearly missed it, but I don't know. I was like, does it say? Because in the beginning of the game, you start off with the red ones, but there's no fire hazard in the first level when you get them. So
I'm
I don't
pretty
know
sure
what the point of telling them
Olimar
was.
does state that, because sometimes his journals are nothing more than just his thoughts on stuff, but they are more than a handful of occasions he's making observations that are like vital to understanding the gameplay. Like when he talks about the yellows and their use of like bomb rocks, or the blues having gills so they can obviously go on water.
Yeah, I guess I just missed it then.
But so the impact site is where you find red Pikmin, yada yada. You learn how to grow Pikmin by them bringing back these little pellets or dead bodies to the onion, which grow more Pikmin. You learn that they can carry stuff and they can push stuff as long as you have enough Pikmin to do so. The impact site's very basic, and we'll come back to that later. It's a very small level because it's just a tutorial, but you do have to return here for a reason later. But so the first real level is the Forest of Hope, which you're seeing on screen now. This is when the game opens up. There's a good handful of parts in this area, because there's only 4 areas with a total of 29 parts, with the very last part being the final boss. Here you'll learn even more about fighting bigger enemies, and you'll find the yellow Pikmin here, which the yellow Pikmin you are able to throw higher, and they are able to carry these bomb rocks that you use to break down like stone barriers, or you can actually use them to break down regular fences much quicker, and they can be used on enemies to do lots of damage. Basically, most of the Pikmin speedrunners and more like advanced Pikmin strategies all around revolve around abusing the bomb rocks, because they're very useful. But the yellow Pikmin allow you to access new areas that way, and do more, and just open up more options in combat, really. But they don't do as much damage as the red Pikmin do. So that's like the big reveal here, and then you'll get some other small sections like the burrowing snagret, which is like this giant snake bird thing that you have to fight to get apart. The cannon beetle, which is another big enemy. There's lots of like big fights. You know, they really emphasize the whole like lots of little guys fighting the one big thing. One thing you'll learn very quickly in this game is that losing Pikmin is almost an inevitability unless you are a god tier at this game. So you are going to lose Pikmin. Make peace with that.
We've had some stupid deaths.
Yeah, yes. Pikmin can be eaten. They can drown. If they're not blue Pikmin, they can get blown up. And if you leave, and if any Pikmin are away from you or away from the ship or the onion, which is the onion's basically like the Pikmin's like home base, they'll just die if you leave the planet at night without recalling them to you. So you lose them too. But all the numbers can be easily replenished by getting pellets or defeating enemies and bringing them back to the onion, and then it'll produce more Pikmin. So in general, we'll just open the floor to talking about the Forest of Hope as a whole, and anything you guys have to say about it and how it anything that might have revealed to you how the game plays or anything you liked about the game, the yellow Pikmin, whatnot. So I'll just leave the floor open. Whoever wants to go first on it.
I think that this level is pretty fun. Like I like the multi paths, and you see that as we go forward is like they kind of have their own little zones for the strategy that you need to get like the asset. I love that the map isn't something that you uncover, that you just have it so that you can open the map up, look at the level layout, and kind of make your approach. You kind of have to like guess if that's a door that you have to like blow up or it's the wooden one. You can kind of see like the formation of like a gate, but you'll most likely you find it when you get to it, I guess. But like this area was pretty cool. It's super funny because of how like cute everything is, to just sick 100 Pikmin on like a ladybug monster and just watch him kill it and carry it back to eat it and turn it into more Pikmin. It's I think Edwin's like reaction to that was great because he was like, what the hell? Just kill it and carry it off. It's like,
yeah, that like Pikmin is what is it, unapologetically dark, because that's just your corpse you're carrying off. Like it's dead. You're gonna go turn it and grind it up and turn it into more Pikmin in this weird, almost zombie-like fashion. It's kind of creepy when you put any thought into it.
like they're so adorable and they make little squeaky sounds and stuff. And then like the entire theme of this game is "Go die for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was asking, it's like, yeah, and when you told me, it was like, oh, carrying them off into the ship. I was like, what do they do with it? It was like, oh, they're going to eat them and then turn more pigments. I'm just like, what? This is like very fucking savage for like such a cute looking game. But it's like, as the more that I played, it's just like, yeah, this is surprisingly dark. There's like a lot of them die. It's just like, we live and die for you. Like very quickly, you can generate you can generate thousands of us, and it's just like we'll lose a few, but for every one that dies, we'll get 10 more. It's like that's the whole concept of it.
I just found it funny how I had the same exact thing. It was just like, okay, this is a little crazy for me to see that they're gonna turn and mutate these things into themselves. So like every bit of these creatures are a part of another animal that was deceased and then turned into this. So fucking weird. And then later on, from me being disgusted, just got used to it. Like this is life, whatever, fuck it. Like I know what the plan is and what needs to happen, even though beforehand I was like, I don't know if I really enjoy this. And then it just went to, fuck it, take the dead body, bring it to the damn mothership. We need sacrifices, let's do it. Like I need a bigger army, bring the dead bodies, let's go. So
grab the bomb rocks, go do a crime.
Yeah, it just changed. It changed so fast because it was just like everything is being rushed, because you got the timer and everything. Which again, I am the same way. I'm not too particularly happy about dealing with games that have a timer next to them. I don't enjoy too much being rushed, but this one does actually it's a challenging version of a game that usually you don't really get put into that kind of position. So it was new for me, but I was actually quite enjoying it after a while when you get to see the different types of techniques you could use. Udon was telling me about how you could use the C-stick to control those little guys and actually have them form a line and such, so when you're like crossing bridges and such, you're not going to have an issue where they freaking fall in the damn water all the damn time. So you can at least figure out how you can go about with creating your army, which one is more valuable than other based on the terrain or what level you're about to deal with, that you're going to need either more yellows, more blues, more reds, so it all gives you kind of a mix to it, which is great.
Alrighty then. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, it's like, yeah, I forgot to mention the timer. Like, I don't really like being timed I don't really like being timed on like very specific things, but for a whole game, it was very intimidating for me to be timed for this whole fucking game and then realizing like, oh, 30 parts and then 30 days. So like I'm stressed to like get at least one part a day. So this is like a very small amount of space for screw ups. So it was a little daunting in the beginning, but then it was like I realized, well, with Corey's help, we were managed to get realized that we could get more than just one part a day. So it wasn't like super. It wasn't super struggling, but it was like the beginning of the game was like if I didn't have Corey to help me and guide me through most of it, then it was like I don't know if I'll be able to be able to get like a good ending on it. But it was like it ended up being it was a little rough in the beginning, and like through the middle and a little bit near the end, it started like a little bit more smooth sailing. But it's like the losing Pikmin, I don't like. I feel very guilty for losing allies and things, regardless of how many I have in games. So like really struggled in the beginning. It was like, don't lose any Pikmin. I was like, I don't want to lose these little guys because I don't know how hard it's going to be to get more near the end. And then like by the end, I'm just like, all of you die for me, just right now. Kill this thing or die. Just do it. Get this over with.
Yeah.
Like, and we're on like the last 3 days or so.
Well, that was the funny thing for me was luckily I had Udon watching me when I was playing, and he had to keep reminding me like you're going to have to throw these things away. You are going to be making sacrifices. Get used to it. So I was the same way, like trying to save every single Pikmin I could to just fucking throwing them to the fire because it was just if I took too long with it, I was sacrificing days and. I didn't actually get to beat it. I will probably be reattempting it later. But yeah, it was probably because, again, I was taking way too much time just trying to save every single bit of Pikmin I could. And therefore, it ate up a lot of my time. And so I was not able to get the good ending. I got the bad one, and it was pretty dark as well. But, that was the end of that one.
Yeah, the timer is very contentious for everyone. Pretty much to the point where it's never brought back again. The first Pikmin game's the only one that has a time limit. The game is very built around it, though. I know that sounds stupid. Obviously, it would be, but it's like once you get used to the controls and get used to how the game plays, you'll find very quickly that getting multiple parts in one day is not very difficult. In fact, the 30-day time limit's pretty generous, if anything. Some people are going to fail their first run through, but the game is designed to encourage you, like I said at the beginning, to replay it again and again to get better times, to lose less Pikmin, to be more efficient. It's always about getting better and better, and how fast, how efficient can I make this? There are, obviously, if you're good enough, you can beat the game without losing a single Pikmin. But I mean, that's more of just a bragging rights than anything else. It's not really how the game is designed to be played. As good as I am at the Pikmin games too, it's I'm just you're going to be sacrifices for me. If needed, I'm going to try and not get you killed. But if it happens, it happens. That's why people like not leaving the Pikmin out after dark, because it's probably the easiest way to lose your Pikmin. That's fully within your control, is not leaving them stranded. But once you play it enough and you see one guy chilling at the edge of the map and you're like, do I even really care that much to go all the way over there to get him? It's like, well, he's made his decisions and you just leave him out to dry.
I mean, it's their fault for being too slow, or their pathfinding not being so good and getting stuck in a little corner.
Yeah,
that was when I kept noticing that was happening. I was like, oh, 7 Pikmin, who cares? It's probably their fault anyway.
Yes, and as I said, the game's all about doing better, and the game is also they really enforce it in Pikmin 4, but the games have always been about multitasking, seeing how much you can get done in one day. Because as you see in the gameplay footage, the Pikmin can knock down barriers or build bridges, but it takes them time. So the idea is that you're going to leave some Pikmin here, have some of these carry something off while you're still moving forward, bringing other Pikmin to do other things. As long as you know that the Pikmin you're leaving are safe, or their pathway is safe to get back, then it's not gonna and it's not gonna bother any of them. So it's just more fun seeing how much more fast you can do it every single time. And again, it is a learning curve. It'll intimidate some people, and I'm kind of one of those people that don't like being timed either. But like I said, at this point, the 30-day time limit is very generous, to me, anyways. But not everyone liked it, and based on selling numbers, obviously, because Pikmin has never been a game that has sold well. it is always underperformed. They want to make it more approachable and more friendly, so they took out the time limit. They took out a lot of the things that made Pikmin a hard game, really. Pikmin 2, I think overall is still harder, but for different reasons than instead of just having a timer that you have to compete with. But anyways, so that's the Forest of Hope. Not to mention, as you saw in the gameplay footage, there is water around. You will get blue Pikmin in the next area, and you have to get so many ship parts in this area before you're even allowed to access the next area. So you might be spending a few days here, depending on how fast you can get everything done. But even once you can leave, you do need to leave and come back because in Metroidvania style, when you get more Pikmin that can do different things, obviously you're going to be going back to an area to, reuse the blue Pikmin to finish this area once you leave this area and go to the next one to get them and come back. But anyway, so once you get enough parts here, you are granted access to the next level, which is called the Forest Navel, which is weird because we have the Forest of Hope and then the Forest Navel, so you have two different forest levels out of the four levels of the game. Really, mostly three because the fourth one is just the one final boss. But it's the Forest Navel, and it seems to be underground, like just below the ground kind of area. Because it's much darker in here. It's hard to see. There's a lot of things in your way because when you realize your base of operations is basically on top of this like plateau area with lots of ways to get down. There's a lot of water here, but luckily this is the same place you're going to be run into the blue Pikmin, which for Pikmin 1, they are probably the most useful Pikmin type because simply for the fact they can't drown, so they're immune to water. But that's like their 1+. They are immune to water. That is their advantage. But because of how water works and it's an instant death sentence to the other two Pikmin, it's pretty useful. But they still are not as strong as red Pikmin, and they can't carry bombs like yellow Pikmin, and they can't be thrown as high. But you'll encounter the blue Pikmin here, which will help you start getting more parts. And this is the place where you're kind of going to be tested in learning your multitasking, because a lot of the gates in this area are not necessary to open. They just make it getting back to your home base faster. So it's up to you whether or not you want to spend time opening them to in return make coming and going from base faster, because you will be doing that in order to put in and take out Pikmin and to allow the Pikmin to carry stuff back there in a much more efficient manner. This is also where you're going to be encountering some of the more puzzle elements of the game, because some of these parts are going to be placed in such a way where like they're going to be behind like fire traps, or they're going to be up on ledges or by water. And it's like you have to get water Pikmin to overcome one obstacle, which then allows you to bring in yellow Pikmin to get the next obstacle, and then the red Pikmin to finish everything off. So that's where the puzzling element comes into the game, is using the Pikmin's like specific characteristics to overcome certain challenges. As you can see there, that part right there is only able to be picked up by yellow Pikmin because it's up on a ledge. Only they're able to reach it because you can throw them higher. But that's just a really basic example. But yeah, that's the Forest Navel. You'll be encountering a few different more varied bosses here, where you encounter the beady Longlegs, which is kind of a jump scare kind of boss, because it's kind of fun, because as Corey said, when you get the map, you get the whole map. But what's nice about the map is that it will show you where all the ship parts are, so you're not just blindly looking for them. And when you go to find that ship part, you go into this big arena, which, as people who play video games, you're probably thinking, all right, where's the boss? And then he drops in from above, this giant spider creature stomping on all your Pikmin like a jump scare, which is kind of neat. And then you also have the puff stool enemy, which at first seems harmless, but then can turn your Pikmin into puff Pikmin, which will and then turn on you and start attacking you and your other Pikmin, which kind of makes it kind of a crazy enemy to fight, and it's the only enemy in the game that does something like that. And then you'll encounter like the fiery blowhogs that, yes, they can shoot fire, which makes use red Pikmin against them, because like any other Pikmin's gonna have a hard time against that enemy, but the red Pikmin being immune to fire just laugh at them, because they literally cannot hurt the red Pikmin at all. That is their only attack, is breathing fire. So that you're going to be learning more about the game. This game's each area slowly tests you more and more with more complex puzzles or more interesting enemies. So with the Forest Navel, and when I open up the floor, I'm going to quietly change out the footage to my next thing, so you can hopefully get some more footage of that area to help remind you of stuff in that area. But again, I will just open the floor to you guys, how you felt about the Forest Navel and any challenges and things you encountered in there, how you felt about the blue Pikmin and the surprises that waited for you in there. Whoever wants to take the torch.
Yeah. We because we didn't know about the fire Pikmin being like, well, we didn't know the red ones were immune to fire at the time, so we were really struggling to just kind of C-stick guide our people around the fire breathers, and it was like, oh shit, because he would just cook like an entire group of yellows. But the blues, like that was such a nice add because we basically main focused the blues by the end of the game, I think.
Yeah, by the end of the game, the most that we had were the blue Pikmin because I was getting more careless with the Pikmin because I was getting a little frustrated near the end. But the problem with the Force Naval was that one, we didn't know that red Pikmin were immune, but then we also had like there was the fire hogs were everywhere, and then those goddamn frogs can just like the big like this is the part that I mean, like the Pikmin don't really listen to you very well. So when like the frog jumps, it stuns some of them, and then they just won't move until you whistle at them. But they're too slow, so the frog just lands right on top of them. The same with like some other enemies, when you throw them on top, they get stunned after being thrown off. But it's just like you have to like, you know, it's like I don't have enough fingers on my hand to, or like I don't hold the controller weirdly to optimize all these buttons that I have to press. Whereas like I have to use the C stick to command the Pikmin that are still next to me to move aside so they don't get hurt, and also call the Pikmin with the B button while also aiming Olimar to the area to call the Pikmin back to me. It's like it's just like too many button prompts I have to press all at once to like get everything back in order.
It was kind of funny because that frog totally smoked your team too. I think it got 45 Pikmin in one slam. I was like, oh shit.
Well, because we were trying to pick up that, I think, 50 Pikmin piece, and then like in the middle of it, the frog saw us from far away, even though it's dark as hell. And then I called them all over, so they all grouped up right under the frog, and then they all got squished.
It's like, no, you idiots.
Yeah, that'll happen in Pikmin. You make one mistake like that, and then there goes your whole squad. That happens a lot in Pikmin 2, actually. I don't think I said anything at the time when I was playing Pikmin 2 and when one time we were recording an episode. I made a really bad fuck up and electrocuted my entire team all at once, like all 100 Pikmin, just dead instantly, and I just shut off my GameCube because I'm like, nope, I'm not accepting that. Bullshit.
There was a lot of safe scumming in that area because not only did a bunch of Pikmin die, but I kept fucking up, and then because to getting the bombs like right behind the landing area. It was like I kept throwing my Pikmin, and if you call them over, they drop the bombs that they're carrying, and then so it was like, well, I just fucked up with the first minute of the level, and I lost 10 bombs. So it's like I'm just gonna reset, but I kept doing that, so I kept messing up the calling them over on accident, and then just losing a bunch of bombs right off the bat. It's like I'm just gonna start that over. It's just like there's a lot of safe scumming for that level specifically.
We had the yellow bomb guys where you threw them at the door and you were trying to time it right, but you threw another one right into the bomb that was exploding, so he died before he even hit the ground. It's like,
the bomb radius is ridiculous.
Or the one when I just opened that, was taking down that wall and just so happened to get a boulder in the face, and it killed like all my fucking squad with that stupid beetle. I was so fucking upset.
Oh,
I was just like,
beetle.
Yeah,
he's probably, of the two boss, or what was it, the toadstool guy, the daddy long leg. Are you talking about
overall or just in the naval?
In the naval area, because it's the daddy long leg and
it's the daddy long legs and the puff stool are the two main bosses in there.
Yeah, the puff stool guy was kind of neat. It was just funny because we were like, oh, he's got a little butt, but like the daddy long leg thing, if you're not moving your Pikmin around because they don't want to punch him in the feet, and then he just steps on 30 at once, and you're like, son of a bitch.
That boss fight was really annoying.
I thought the
boss fights really test you.
I thought the fucking mushroom part, which was funny, because I thought that they were like in rage form, which they are, but I thought it was like helping me out, and then I just started seeing them dying around my other Pikmin. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Are they having like heart attacks? And then Sure enough, the purple one starts running at me. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he just like fucking starts swinging on me. I'm going to swing on you. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, get the fuck out of there. And I start losing all my people. Then I find out that when he does that spray, that fucking spore shit, he turns all your people against him. And I was like, oh, this is bullshit. They're going to fucking add this to this game. It's great. So I'm like expecting to see that later on. And thank God they did not fucking add like miniature versions of that, because fuck, I would be so pissed off if I had to deal with that shit. It's already bad enough dealing with it one time, but it was like, if it was consistent, I was gonna be so mad. But the daddy, that long leg thing, he wiped out a lot of my squad too, because he'd just be stomping around, and my fucking people were like trying to pick his nails or something. He just fucking just crushes them. And so I had to literally figure out, like, okay, I cannot go too heavy on my team. I'm going to have to go a little small here, just so I have enough space to literally have them run around and not just be like such a huge crowd that he just literally doesn't have to miss, and he'll fucking at least step on 20 of them. So I had to literally just keep throwing at him, and luckily that was really upsetting, because I think I spent one day on that one alone just trying to kill it, and then finding out that it just wasn't enough, because I just keep having to recycle, go back at more, and then I found out smaller team will do better, and then that's when I was actually able to kill it. But yeah, I think I wasted like a day and a half just trying to kill that fucking long leg thing. It was just so annoying.
Yeah, the spider wasn't that bad of a boss, but it like, again, like I said in the beginning, the problem that I have is like the commanding of the Pikmin is just like not super accurate, because the problem that I had with most of the boss fights is it's like the whistling and the prioritization of what the Pikmin do, because the problem that I had with the Daddy Longlegs boss fight was that, well, the first time that I went in with like maybe 40 to 50 Pikmin or something. So the second I went in there, I lost a bunch of Pikmin. That was one of the restarts. But when I got in, I was like, I already knew what was going to happen. But like the problem is that the way Corey described the guide to fight the boss was that you have to let him stomp around, and then like move your Pikmin around so that way they don't get stomped on. And then eventually he'll get tired, and then he'll lower like his actual head like down lower so you can actually throw it on them. I was like, okay, yeah, that works. But then I quickly realized, like, this is a really big boss, and my whistle does not reach super far without me getting too close to the boss and then getting stomped on, or the rest of my army getting stomped on. So what would happen a lot is that when he does shake off the Pikmin, they immediately go for the fucking legs on the other side of the arena, so I can't exactly reach them. And then when the Pikmin are attacking the legs, the boss is like trying to shake them off the legs, and then just never like lowers his head again for you to throw more Pikmin on there. So it's like the Pikmin are constantly just like leaving, like falling off the head and immediately going for the legs, and just like making the fight take longer because they're stopping the boss from like its staggering state. So eventually, I just like went into the middle between all the legs, and then just like kind of maneuvered my Pikmin and myself around, so that way I can try to make sure another Pikmin attacked the legs. It didn't work very well either, because the Pikmin that were following me, they would leave my group and then go to attack the legs because they were a closer target than me. So then, I lost even more Pikmin that way, because like now they're just like moving towards the leg and just getting stomped on. But like that same attempt, I realized like, oh, I have some yellow Pikmin that I can throw high enough to the boss, so I don't have to wait for like him to get tired and then lower his head. So that's basically how I beat it. But it's like it took a lot longer because the Pikmin don't exactly listen to you. It's like that. It was like, I whistled over here. That's the only thing that you should be like doing, not just because like, oh, it's like you whistled over, but now I'm closer to the leg, so I'm just gonna go attack the leg, even though like I called you over because I'm trying to keep you alive. And then like for some other bosses in the area, where you whistle, it doesn't matter like the height of where the Pikmin is. Like that's like really tall bosses that like they can just go on top. But if you're like below, if you like whistle in the area below where the Pikmin are attacking, they'll still call them over. So you'd like lose out damage because it just calls all the Pikmin like from that cone from the ground level all the way up to the top of the level. So I mean that's just like a little nitpick thing that I had a problem with through the entire game.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like I said, this game definitely has some jank in it. You kind of learn when to call your Pikmin because I think how it works is that when the Pikmin are stunned off of something, they do have like some kind of cooldown period before they can actually be whistled. So the game, to do it efficiently, to not get them killed, you have to do a lot of like preemptive whistling. There was something about the.
Oh, I think in a diary or something it says specifically that if they get knocked down, they get up faster if you whistle at them. But I mean, stun. I mean, a stun is a stun. It was like it was just a little annoying. I was like, I barely have time to call them over while maneuvering all these other Pikmin still following me. It's like the amount of button presses and like control for these things to keep them all alive during those dire situations was the most struggling part.
Yeah, I think it's part of the challenge of the game, but again, they do improve how you control the Pikmin. The Pikmin's AI improves with like every iteration. They are very reactive in Pikmin 4.
I know that's why I really wanted to play the Pikmin 2 with Corey, because it's just like, oh, two people commanding 100 Pikmin. I was like, that should be easier, right?
Well, commanding them, yes, but as anyone in the Pikmin community will tell you, Pikmin 2 is harder, if not just for the vastly increased amounts of enemies and their variety. Like you thought that one beady long legs was bad, like try a hairy beady long legs or the fucking what was it? Forgot what the robot version of it with a machine gun is called, but that exists in Pikmin 2.
I saw a picture of that and was like, what the hell is this enemy?
Yeah, it's like a steampunk spider, but he doesn't step on Pikmin. He just has a mounted heavy caliber machine gun and just straight up shoots them. Yeah, so that's the Forest Navel. It's probably my least favorite area in the game. Only because I don't know, I'm not a fan of the dark visuals, I guess. But the ambiance is very nice. It's a very foreboding place. Not only that, I know I shared it in our music episode, which I know has unfortunately been taken down. May do that differently in the future. But the Pikmin has fantastic music. Every level has its own track. It's very calming, very relaxing, even though, fucked up shit's happening, but that also just goes to that's par for the course of this game with the cutesy visuals, with the dark undertones. But anyway, so yeah, that's the Forest Navel with the blue Pikmin. And unfortunately, I thought I started up the Forest Navel with this footage, but you've been watching my return to the impact site, which we'll just talk about briefly. As I said, you go back to the impact site once you have the blue Pikmin to get the one other ship part that's here that's not part of the tutorial. And this area of the game basically functions as like a rest stop because there's only ever one enemy that only might spawn in the impact site, and between the two of them, one of them can't actually kill any of your Pikmin, and the other one the blue Pikmin are completely immune to. So once you have the blue Pikmin from the Forest Navel, you have to go back to the impact site because the one part that's in here is being separated by water in a clam, which the clam is an unkillable enemy, and that's mainly just a timing puzzle of getting your Pikmin up there to basically destroy this like membrane around your ship part. And then after that, you'll also return back to the Forest of Hope to unlock the different areas with like with the cannon beetle that can only be accessed by using blue Pikmin between them and the water. So we will skip over the impact site again because it's a very small part of the game. It's just more to reiterate the backtracking nature the game has to unlock areas with your new Pikmin power, so to speak.
Yeah. Also, just real quick, the scurrying beetle that randomly shows up, is there like a purpose to that? Because I tried to kill it and you can't.
So you can't kill the flint beetle. You can throw a Pikmin on top of it, and you see it in the footage that I do hit it. And in the other games, it drops more useful items. It still might in this game. It might be like a table of loot that it drops. But I was under the impression that it dropped nectar, which that's another small mechanic in the game. You can find these little bottles of nectar that the Pikmin can suck up and become flower Pikmin. And flower Pikmin are faster and stronger than leaf Pikmin. But as you saw, he dropped like a 1 pellet. So I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. This is too much work to whatever this thing's going to drop. So I just left it.
I thought it was just like there to screw you up because it like showed up from the ground and then my Pikmin started attacking it and then it tried
Yeah,
to release some of them in the water. So I was like, oh, I thought it's just like something to screw you up and kill your Pikmin randomly.
it is meant to be annoying because I believe the reasoning is that again the Pikmin are very small brain, so the flintlock beetle is shiny and they are literally attacking it because it is shiny, and it's not actively trying to lead your Pikmin to death. It just kind of randomly moves and doesn't actually kill your Pikmin in any direct way. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, so it's like I played through the whole game without like an answer to what that thing was.
Yeah. Well, that other area too, when you go back to it, it kind of acts as like a boon to your like troops because it has all of the access like 20s and the pearls that can give you 50 Pikmin each or something like that, or 100 or some crazy.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say when I said it was like a rest stop. All the pellets that you see in the footage is they all respawn every single day, and the pearls that you can get from the other clamshells that don't have your ship part give you 50 Pikmin a pop, which is crazy high. So sometimes people, I know when I was a kid, when I played this, I would basically get ahead a day by at least one. So I know I can take like a Pikmin, restock day, and I just take the entire day to do nothing but like create more Pikmin. Again, as you get better at the game, you kind of multitask doing that and getting ship parts at the same time. But that's when you get better at the game. But yeah, that the impact site acts like a little rest area with lots of opportunities to restock your Pikmin if you need them. But that's just the impact site. Again, it's mainly tutorial area, so there's not much to talk about there. The last level before the final trial is called the Distant Spring. And I unfortunately we did not get Forest Naval footage here, but as I'm talking, I'm going to switch over to what I know I have Distant Spring footage in the last one. But the Distant Spring, which isn't a variation of Forest, weirdly enough, is a much harder area. You're going to be using blue Pikmin a lot here, and again, this is why I say blue Pikmin are the most useful Pikmin in this game specifically because of how much you use them and just how much they're immune to. These puzzles in this area are very kind of, sometimes they're annoying because they're kind of a bit esoteric. If you're not, again, the better you get a Pikmin, the easier you're going to see the solutions to these things. This area has a ton of enemies, tons of really strong / annoying enemies, with the airy blowhog and the red bullbear.
His name's not Snufflepuss.
Yeah, I like Snufflepuss, but so basically how Pikmin's logic work. Remember the little pig things that shoot fire in the Forest Naval? That's their air counterpart. That's an evolution of that same creature, apparently.
I mean, Corey just called everything a Snufflepuss. It's like, oh, Snufflepuss. It's a Snufflepuss.
One of the more fun things about Pikmin is all the different names they give to the creatures, because Olimar is like logging them in like a Piclopedia, so he gives them all these like scientific names and stuff. But yeah, like I said, the Distant Spring would lead you to believe blue Pikmin are heavily used here. But even though they're heavily used, you're going to use all 3 versions of your Pikmin here. You did in the Forest Naval too, but you really have to juggle your Pikmin a lot in this area to solve some of these different puzzles to get Pikmin across water and then get something down just to change them back into blue Pikmin, with these little candy pop bud plants. That'll switch Pikmin colors if you feed them to them. I actually remember what I wanted to say, Edwin. When you said that when you were managing your bombs, when you called your Pikmin back over, they dropped them immediately. And granted, I agree with you. That's kind of that shouldn't have been designed that way. But some Pikmin tech is that if you don't call them, but instead of just walk up to your Pikmin and touch them to get them to follow you, they won't drop the bombs.
Yeah, well, I was like, they only drop the bomb if you throw them and then you call them. I was like, I realized that later, but it's like if you just dismiss them and then call them, they don't drop the bombs. It's just like a weird choice of mechanic that like I didn't realize soon enough. But it's just like it was a I kept doing the mistake over and over again because I had to throw them, and I just like I'm too lazy to walk over closer to them to just touch them and tell them to follow me. So I was like, I just call everything over. So it's just like a force of habit problem that I have.
Yeah, but my point being is that while there is a mechanic in the game to where you can do that, and you're actually encouraged to do it in the final trial, the game never actually specifies that, and they really need to. Also in the footage, you might notice that sometimes when I'm fighting the Bulborbs, I am throwing Pikmin at an incredibly fast rate. Because in the in this game, Olimar can only throw Pikmin so fast, seemingly. But if you push up on your C stick at the same time you're spamming the Pikmin throw, Olimar will just for some reason start throwing them as fast as you can press the A button, like really, really fast, which is how I'm melting these bulb orbs that you'll see in the footage.
Yeah.
Oh, just holding up while pressing the A button?
Yeah, so you have like a claw grip on your controller where you're pushing up on the C stick to make them go towards Olimar, and for whatever reason, that lets Olimar throw them as fast as you're pressing the button.
Oh, okay.
So you can
The
melt
C-stick.
and. But again, that's like hidden Pikmin tech. I'm not even sure if that's intentional. That's definitely not told you at any point in the game. And hell, I only recently found out about that fairly recently.
I think it's more of like a programming issue because when you're throwing a Pikmin, they all form up in a line. So the fact that you're pushing them all like up to Olimar's back, you're just closer. So the animation of the next Pikmin walking up in line, like going to you so you can throw it, they're all just like surrounding you like directly at your back. So it's like less time waiting for a Pikmin to walk up to you.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like,
sure
"I'm
that's
next."
I'm sure that's the reasoning for sure. I know I don't know if anyone encountered it because I don't believe the creature spawns unless you spend I think 5 days here, and you can cause it to spawn faster if you break the egg. But there's this unique enemy boss here that you don't have to fight because it doesn't have a ship part. It's called the Smoky Prog. It's this like demon frog looking creature that's this like smoke monstrosity that'll appear if you spend too many days in this area, and it can just walk through Pikmin and immediately kill them. And it'll not in it, and once it spawns, it goes straight for your base, and it can actually uproot Pikmin out of the ground just to kill them. I don't know if anyone encountered that creature, possibly, maybe. But that's just a unique enemy that it's a boss of the area, but one that you don't really have to fight. It's kind of like a secret boss, if you want to put it that way.
Because in the credits, I saw this creature. I was like, "What the hell is that?" It was like
Yeah,
I've
you
never
can-
seen this enemy at all. So like, okay, so that's where the enemy comes in because I've never seen that thing at all.
Yeah,
But
it's
we
like a
did spend a lot
secret.
of time there.
Well, it's like a secret enemy specifically because of how aggro it is, and you'll see right here, boom, all dead. Even I fall victim to the fucking frog nonsense.
Hmm.
Yeah, those goddamn.
But yeah, you can find its egg in this area and hatch it prematurely. But if you spend too many days here, it will just hatch on its own. It's kind of like a secret boss, and like I said, it's unique in the fact that it doesn't just spawn or it just doesn't like patrol an area. It actively hunts your Pikmin. Like it'll come after you, no matter where you are on the map.
Is it in that specific area for like where you killed the bullboard bug and like the one next to the skulls?
It's right north of where the camera is right now. You see all those little islands up there? That's just north, just off screen, up right there. You can see the bottom of the egg right there. But that little area in the middle of the map, surrounded by a bunch of little islands, is where the egg sits. So yeah, you see that little circle area right there on the map? That's where it is in the center of that.
Okay, now that does seem like specifically designed to center around that tiny island.
Yeah,
It makes sense for it to be there.
but yeah, this is the area that'll probably people will spend a lot of their time in, simply from the fact that a lot of ship parts have like 2 or 3 stages or things to break down or build or get out of the way, or just simply puzzles that you're going to take time to figure out. You're probably going to be spending a lot of time here, so a lot of first time players will run into this creature. Sometimes you get lucky and you get through it in 3 or 4 days, no big deal, but it's just this kind of scary secret little creature that that kind of like a, I don't know, weird creature that doesn't follow the rules. The rest of them kind of, they do it again in Pikmin 2, but I just felt like mentioning because I think it's cool. But yeah, the Distant Spring. You find another cannon beetle here. There's tons of enemies, lots of puzzles. So I'll open it up for everyone to talk about the Distant Spring and how you felt about it. So go for it.
Fucking hated it.
I mean, I like this. It's funny because I like the level.
All right then, good commentary.
It's so expansive, and I mean, this is why we had so many damn blues, anyways, because there's like this basically is just a water level, outside of like opening up certain pathways. But this was definitely the area where we really caught. We were getting like 2 parts a day kind of thing, and it really helped later because we were like, oh, we gotta There's the grab guy who comes and throws your damn.
Yeah, that's
Pikmin on
the
wall.
flying snitch bug, which again is an enemy that can't
God.
actually kill your Pikmin, but like the blowy, the windy blowhog, they're just kind of meant to annoy the shit out of you or displace your Pikmin in a really annoying fashion.
Yeah,
Oh,
like this
yeah.
one definitely required the map opening and then just being like, okay, for this day we're gonna go for those 2 stars, because there's just so much stuff you got to do, like pushing bridges, breaking walls, and blah blah blah. The I guess southern part of the map is a little bit more interesting, and this level had some funny stuff on it though, because I think one of the parts we had a bunch of yellows carrying something, and they all just jumped in the water and died.
Yeah, it was one of the parts on the cliff that is just like, well, they're the only ones that can reach it, and then but they go to like the one part of the cliff side that is like has a really like narrow pathway that I'm supposed to walk up to. That I was like, we can like, switch off Pikmin so that way they can carry it back to the ship. But it's like, no, it's like the piece is too big and the path is too narrow. But let's go that way anyway. So like half of them fell in the water because the piece was too big. And I was like, well, that's your fault. I was like, I just needed it to get down and then switch off with the blue ones. But no, I was like, we'll learn how to swim somehow. Little Pikmin.
Yeah, it was just literally watching them. We're like, are they gonna kill themselves? It's like, dude, like, damn it.
So, on the topic of drowning Pikmin, which is weirdly a big mechanic in this game, oddly enough, there's a couple things about it. So, if you might have noticed, if a Pikmin falls into the water, if you blow your whistle at them, they will attempt to come near the land. They have a few seconds before they die, and if they're close enough while you're blowing your whistle, they can recover and get back to shore. I don't think you'll see it before we're done here in this footage, but I use that to basically bypass a part of the puzzle to get them to go somewhere. But some speedrunning strats, especially in like the Forest of Hope, to bypass the little bit of water there. If a Pikmin is drowning and you are calling them, but you're also touching them, so you're close enough for Olimar to touch them, it will keep resetting the drown timer. So you can effectively force your Pikmin to drown swim across a very large body of water without them dying, but you can only do it to a few Pikmin at a time. Again, pretty sure it's not intentional, but it is possible. And a small mechanic that isn't utilized, isn't explained, but it is just kind of like a small touch of flavor that I enjoy, is that if you have some idle blue Pikmin, so when Pikmin are idle, they basically go pale and they just stand around waiting for Olimar to tell them to do something because they have all of one thought process in their brain at any given time. If you have a bunch of blue idle Pikmin in the water and a red or yellow Pikmin falls in and are drowning, the blue Pikmin will actually go and pick them up and throw them out of the water like lifeguards, which is just a fun little interaction that they can do. You're not going to see it in pretty much any casual playthrough unless that weird set of circumstances happens, but it's just a fun like flavor thing that they added that I think is neat.
And it does sound pretty neat. And might have been more useful like for some situations, like, oh, you have blues and then a few other colors. It's just like, well, some of them fell in the water. It's like, you could send some blues after them if you knew that.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not like just standing around him, staring him in the face, and he's like, yeah,
help me, brother.
Big eyes.
He's
Oh
just...
man, I can't wait to sacrifice you, dog.
I'm gonna put you on the chip.
Brother, help me.
Just like showing off the pills.
Drowning brother, help. It's just like, hey, remember that money you owed me?
Handlebar mustache.
Clearly built different.
Yeah.
When I first got to this level and I opened up the map, it was just like, yeah, there's gonna be like a lot of blue Pikmin usage here because just like half of it is just water, and it's like the pathfinding for the Pikmin is just like go through the water unnecessarily. So it's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna use any other Pikmin unless it's like it forces me to.
When they're following behind you, depending on how many you have, like you can't really set them into formations to be like a thin line. Like you can kind of guide them a little bit, but sometimes they're just like, yeah, he didn't make the bridge. He just walked straight into the damn water. Stupid red one's dead. Like,
Pikmin have never been claimed to be very intelligent creatures. So Jordan, I think all I heard from you is that you fucking hated this area. Why did you fucking hate this area?
I just couldn't stand the goddamn guys that would pick your dudes up and just be like, I'm taking these guys. I'm like, oh, thanks, asshole. And he's like, I'm gonna throw them over here in the fucking water and they drown to death. I'm like, you sack of shit. And then I'm like, okay, fuck you, jump them. And then they jump them, and then he'd be like, oh, no, get off me. And then they all go in the fucking water. And I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get all my blue dudes out there. And then Snufflepuff comes out there and is like, achoo, and blows all my fucking people around. And so I'm constantly trying to gather them, getting them ready. And then, my luck, they get blown right next to that big fucking ladybug looking dude. And he just goes and it's an open buffet and just eats all my fucking dudes. And then I'm like, okay, well now I can't complete this other part because I have to throw them over to this other area so they can convert to the yellow dudes, but I don't have any blue dudes, so guess what? I gotta go fucking make some more blue dudes, and then I'm like just constantly getting fucked left and right, and then I'm running up this area to the, think I found a quicker path, and I run into the beetle dude again. I'm like, this is another one of these assholes again that killed half my fleet oh my god. And then yeah, it's a constant, just a fuck fest, just constantly getting my ass just destroyed, and I lost so many people. And I finally got it down to a T, but I had just wasted so much fucking days of trying to just make things work, and they just never did because I just could not get the formation down on how I was supposed to go about with being able to use the blue dudes and the yellow and the red, to where I would just be like, I need a pure color. So I would always be sure that I know for a fact they're not going into the fucking drink. I did not know about the whole that the blue dudes could get the yellow dudes out. I probably could have done that a whole lot more easier then. Could have escaped a lot of deaths that happened, but because I did not, I continued to just use pure colors. I would go into later on getting on a fleet of the 3 where I would have 60 reds and I'd have 40 50 reds, 30 blues, and then the rest was yellows because I just never gave a shit about the yellow dudes. I just never really cared. They had the bombs, but I just never used them, so they were only around if I had to use the bombs. If not, they were basically just the lightweight that was hanging around in case I came across an area that needed it. But it was mostly going heavy with the reds. But again, since this area had a lot of water in it, I would constantly get my ass thrown into the drink, and it would just be constantly just trying to get my people back, and I was eating up so much time because of that. So that would be why I say fuck this level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you mentioned the flying bug one that was just snatch up Pikmin, it was really fucking annoying because there was this one bug that swarms around the boss area. So what he would do a few times is that he would pick up my Pikmin and then slam them down and rebury them in the boss area. So anytime I went back into the area, I was permanently down a few Pikmin to call out and follow me because I had to go and uproot the ones in the boss area because they still counted towards the 100 in the level. So it's just God damn it, I don't want to go up there. So there's until I went up and fought it, I was permanently down maybe 5 to 10 Pikmin.
Yeah, and for people, you can only have 100 Pikmin on the field at any given time. That includes the ones planted. And sometimes you might go into an area, kind of like Edwin. He knew where the planted Pikmin were, but sometimes you'll come into an area that you've been to previously and wonder why you can't take out 100 Pikmin. Another fun fact about the flower Pikmin is that if flower Pikmin die, they have a chance to plant a seed when they die. So that sometimes when you come back to an area where you had a massacre the day before, you might see a couple Pikmin sprouts just randomly in the world, which Pikmin sprouts are completely safe from enemies. So they'll just sit out there, hunky dory, no problem. But again, just a small little, detail that they added to the game. It's not insanely useful because, the ratio is horrible, but you get some return on your genocide, I suppose. So yeah, that is the distance spring. And as Jordan said, I'm just go ahead and mention it now. Jordan did not finish this game. You got the bad ending of Pikmin, which it's just kind of fun that there's a bad ending for it. But
dark as the rest of the game.
So we'll go ahead and talk about it now because the only thing left after this is the final trial, which is just the last level, which isn't anything but a big puzzle and a boss. So in the bad ending of the game, if you are unable to collect at least 25 ship parts, Olimar decides that he's just gonna fuck it. I'm gonna try anyways because if I do, I die. If I don't, I die. So I might as well try. So he tries to take off from the planet with incomplete ship, and it fails, and he comes crash landed back down. It's not stated that he died. He might be unconscious. Who knows? But either way, he's on the ground, and the Pikmin pick up Olimar and feed him to the onion, and he becomes a Pikmin sprout in the ground. And that's where it ends. That's the end. That is the bad ending of Pikmin. His Pikmin or Olimar becomes a Pikmin. The minions have consumed the master.
Full circle.
Which
Circle of life.
Weirdly enough, it's not confirmed, and this is just one of my grievances I have with Pikmin 4, because Pikmin 4 does one of two things. It basically either retcons Pikmin. I have a lot of issues with Pikmin 4. It's not a terrible game, but as a Pikmin fan, it's my least favorite. But Pikmin 4 basically retcons this game. It retcons this game, Pikmin 2, and Pikmin 3. Pikmin 4 is almost like a soft reboot for what little lore, like storyline there is going on in Pikmin. Because in Pikmin 4, you don't play as Olimar, but Olimar is central to the plot, and it's presented as if Olimar is landing on the planet for the first time, meeting the Pikmin for the first time. And when you're chasing Olimar around, you're chasing him as like this weird mutant Pikmin man thing. He's like this weird, like furry leaf creature, and it's implied that in this retcon of events that this is what happened to Olimar in the bad ending of this game is basically what the Pikmin 4 is like a quote unquote continuation of if Pikmin 1's bad ending was canon. At least that's what the fans speculate. Which I don't necessarily like. I kind of liked what simple storyline they had going on between Pikmin 1 through 3, and retconning all of this is just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Because I like Olimar. I wish he was the main character besides the first two, but that's just a small thing. But in the event that you are able to get 29 ship parts, all but one, because if you just get 25, you basically do the same cutscene where he tries to take off, and except this time it works. That's just the neutral ending, nothing special about that. But in the good ending, you get 29 ship parts, and you realize you're missing a part, but you've gotten the parts from all the other places on the planet. But once you get 29, you unlock one more area called the Final Trial. And the Final Trial is a very small map. It basically has one big puzzle where you have to use all three Pikmin types in very specific ways to, in essence, just getting you to the boss arena. So you use yellow Pikmin to get some bomb rocks, you use the blue Pikmin to cross some water to build some bridges, and you use fire Pikmin to walk across this bridge of like fire jets to move a box out of a way. It'll take you probably about all day. I've never been able to do all of that and kill the boss in one day. But luckily the game doesn't ask you to do it all in one day, thankfully. So you solve that big puzzle, and at the end of the game, your last boss is against the Emperor Bulbax. So it's this big old version of these ladybug-looking toad creatures that you've been fighting this entire game, and your first like real enemy you saw. But except this time, not only is this one huge compared to all the rest of them, and I would fast forward to show you it, but unfortunately this file type is stupid and doesn't let me manipulate the footage that way. But you beat the other versions of his species by throwing them all on their backs, but this one's all like hardened and gross, so you can't actually throw Pikmin on its back. You have to throw it on its face, which is not only dangerous in of itself, but it has this big tongue attack where it whips its like Yoshi tongue out and just licks up a bunch of Pikmin, or it can jump around and stomp on a bunch of them. It's not a mechanically crazy boss, but if you slip up, it's going to kill like your entire Pikmin horde in like one fell swoop. And the idea is that you use the Pikmin to throw them on his big face to do damage. And he'll shake them off, and you got to keep reapplying them over and over and over again. The only like added mechanic that will give you an advantage, and Olimar does say this after your first day there, you can use the yellow Pikmin to either throw the bomb rocks into its mouth or sacrifice the Pikmin to get eaten by him while carrying a bomb rock, and it will stun it stun him. It will do damage and stun him for like a significant amount of time. And there's a little area in the back of the boss arena you can open that has a bunch of bombs in it. But you can also just take the hard route and just beat it the old-fashioned way, which is totally possible. But that's the biggest last boss fight, and once you kill the Emperor Bulbax, you get the last piece of your ship. And then in the good ending of the game, Olimar, you have a little cutscene of the Pikmin, looking at Olimar. Olimar looks back. He's kind of a little sad that he has to leave the Pikmin because he's, more or less became friend slash, tyrant to them.
Yeah.
So he obviously he decides he has to leave anyway, so he takes his newly rebuilt ship and flies off, and then a Bulborb walks by, and then all the Pikmin gangbang the Bulborb to jump on top and start beating the shit out of him, because it's implied that Olimar has taught them how to survive without him, now that they kind of know how to, like, oh yeah, strength in numbers, murder all will become Pikmin, all be Pikmin.
Yeah.
And
I taught them to kill.
Yeah, and so Olimar takes off from the Pikmin planet, and you see a bunch of Pikmin onions kind of floating up after him. I think it's just implying that the Pikmin are going to flourish in his absence, which, again, darkly implying that because they're kind of like a hive mind creature that just turns all other life into them, it's just taking over the planet. And that's the end of the game. Again, I'll just open the floor up to that for the three here, or rather the two here that got to the end of the game and actually fought the last boss and saw that ending. Do you want to have any thoughts about the final trial or the last cutscene? We can just talk about that briefly, and then we can go into final thoughts about the game as a whole.
Fuck that boss.
I called him Old Man Snail.
Old Man Snail, not bad. That's not a bad name.
Yeah, Old Man Snail. He definitely fucked up the whole party a couple times, where they fell off. He got stunned, and we're like, oh shit, and then he just bam, there goes 60 of them. You're like, oh damn it. The puzzle.
That's your reaction to losing 60 lives. Oh man, dang it!
I gotta get more. Because I don't think in that area, for it being the last area, you can't build up any Pikmin. There's no
no.
Yeah, so it's like, it kind of sucks that I can't regroup in the last arena, but I mean, it is the final trial, I guess. So it's like whatever you have is what you have. I kind of was envisioning it as a big ass maze that was going to take a lot longer, but it's literally just one puzzle that requires all three types to, navigate the red to push the box, and then the blue ones, they break the thing, and then the bomb guys break that thing, and roll out the bridge. But and there's no enemies in the area either, except for the final boss. So it's really condensed, similar to the first area of the game, the crash site, where it's just stuff to do to kind of learn how to play the game. And then this is just fight this one enemy who dies fairly quickly when we get the hang of it, because once we realized the bomb thing, which we didn't know, we didn't break the damn bomb rock thing down on the other side of the arena.
Listen, I didn't break it because you were looking at the guide on how to beat the boss, and then you told me that wall in the back was just a decorative piece, so I didn't bother breaking it.
Post said it was that's decorative, you can't break it, and we were like, then leave doing it. But it'd just be funny because we had the armies outside the gate, and then you press the segregate button, so they all split up, and then we're like, all right, you one bomb guy, come here, stand right here in the doorway. And he's like, okay, and then the boss just
trembling
eats him.
He's shaking.
What do I do? Just stand there, he'll eat you, and then we'll beat the shit out of him.
You got it,
except
boss.
For we found out too that when he eats them, he burps up the explosion, and if you're too close, he'll kill everybody. So we lost a whole party to that one, where we realized that the bomb just wiped our team when we came in there to kill him. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, I think the last area is pretty decent, but it's I don't know. It could have been there was more puzzly type stuff to navigate in the area before him. I thought we would find more maze-like structures and things, rather than just the exact same puzzle as the first area, is pushing a box and that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's just it's here's a puzzle and here's the final boss. So it's just you as like normally it's like you just do as much as you can, but it's like a much easier way to just like do the puzzle and then get like break the wall down to get to the boss and then just end the day right there. Because if you try and beat the boss and you screw up or die, you just then you just like kind of use up all that time anyway, and you just like have to, if you choose to save at the end of it. But it's just like it's just much easier to have a save to just have a save after the puzzle and then before the boss, so that way if you do screw up on the boss, you can save it and then not have to do the puzzle all over again.
Yeah, I kind of also wish that, and it might be too much, but like the final piece, if it took 100 Pikmin to carry it, I know that you can't like replenish your Pikmin in that arena, but like it could have been like carry the boss or whatever, like a nice little, you know, use the Pikmin, carry him back to grow some more, and then you have like a whole army to carry that last piece. You know, I don't know if that, it sounds good in theory, I guess, but in practice that might be way more annoying because it's going to eat up like a whole day cycle. And I believe you also only get that good ending if you get all the pieces before day 30.
That's possible. I actually don't know. That's interesting to think about that you wouldn't get it if you
I
didn't.
think if you get it on 29, you get the good ending, but if it's day 30 and you get 30 parts, you just get the regular ending. But I could be wrong. It's just when I was reading that there was multiple endings, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that there was like an even better ending than not dying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's
But,
only ever so slightly better. It's kind of like the completionist ending as opposed to like just being
yeah, they do their little
essentially.
dance where they flip their
Yeah.
little like leaves and stuff and then murder a thing that walks by that looked at them funny.
Yeah.
It's like, yay, they taught us to enjoy blood. Now let's go conquer the universe and then make it Samus's problem.
Right. But yeah, and that's Pikmin as a whole. It is a very short game. If you know what you're doing, you can beat it in like 4.5 to 5 hours. But again, like I said at the beginning, the game is built around and encourages multiple playthroughs for the sole purpose of seeing improvement in how efficient you are. Your Dan Dory, as they call it in Pikmin 4, your art of multitasking, essentially. Because I mean, you know, as we said, Jordan did not finish. He got the bad ending. You guys were on day 28, I believe, when you finished. Yes,
I think 26.
Yeah,
26. Okay, so you used most of your days. I got done on day 16, so I almost half the days. But at the end of the day, at the end of the game, it also compares this run to like your last run through. So funnily enough, I started and beated this game in the background of doing this podcast like a couple, you know, probably 20, 30 episodes ago, and now I'm doing it again. And according to that, between this run and the last one, I shaved off a whole 6 days and lost half as many Pikmin as I did last time. And it feels good to see that kind of improvement. So it's just a game that encourages multiple playthroughs because it doesn't take a whole lot. And like any other game, the more you know, the faster you're going to be and more efficient and better at you're going to be. So it's just a game that encourages that very heavily.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, if you really love like micro systems, then like you definitely would fall into this. And it also tells you how many Pikmin you raised and lost total. And
Yes.
we didn't hit the 1,000 mark. We got like 950 or something. We killed like 870.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ended up with by beating the last boss, we had 0 red Pikmin, and then we had like 20 yellow ones, and then like 120 blue ones because the blue ones weren't that necessary for the final boss like the other two were. So it's just like, well, we'll use up the other two, and then the blue ones will just carry back the last piece.
Well, I read the thing wrong for like capacity about how many things you need. So I thought you needed 95 Pikmin to carry the last piece to the ship, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's the last area. That's why I was thinking of like the 100. And I was like, if they did like full 100, that would suck because it's like so precise that you get no like wiggle room. But you only need 40 Pikmin to carry the last piece, and it's like, oh, only 95 can hold it to help carry it faster. So we were trying to not lose Pikmin in that last fight, and I think we left the blues in there because we're like, they're the ones that have to carry this thing. Everybody can die. I don't care. We just need 95 blues left to carry this piece. And I think we killed it with like one guy was hanging on its cheek or whatever, right? Like one yellow dude was just punching away.
Well, after losing like the last few red Pikmin, all we had were yellows, and then we lost a few more of those, so we only had 2 yellow ones. And then I went back and then got a couple more yellows because he had a sliver of health. You could barely see it with like those tiny few pixels that were left there. But it's just like I kept throwing it on his face. It was like, why isn't this bastard dying? Do the yellow ones really do that little damage? But then eventually, like it finally died, and then we had like maybe 10 yellows left because like I was just trying to rush through it because the day was almost over. And then it's like now it's just like run back after seeing the bastard drown in the sand that it lived in, and then just got a bunch of blues, and then carried the piece back, and that was it.
They were like, "Oh yes, we get to bathe in this victory," while all the other ones freaking died.
Yeah, everyone else is crying, and they're like, "What are you crying about?"
I just
What
want to get
happened?
this piggy bank in the ship.
Yeah, that's when it was shared. That's when the information popped up where if you lose all the colors of one Pikmin, the onion ship will give you just one Pikmin of that color that was lost. And it's just like, well, that sucks.
Yeah,
I find
nice.
it weird. I find it weird that it only gives you one. So it's just like, so really the only thing that you can like reasonably bring back to the ship is just one pill bug, because the regular pills like take like what 2 or 5.
well, one pill bug or one pellet or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's like you can also get the pellets. So it's just like just one. It's
Or
like,
the
so it's
little
gonna take
ladybug
fucking
things.
forever.
Yeah, like you have options, but it's basically, but that in and of itself is a punishment for losing all your Pikmin. Is that you have to kind of start off slow, building them back up. Like you're gonna waste time making all more, you know, rebuilding your Pikmin army because you let them all die. So it is like a punishment mechanic in that sense. So I adore Pikmin. It is one of the reasons I wanted the GameCube, and the GameCube is probably my favorite system next to the Nintendo DS. I love this game. I've played it countless times. I've played Pikmin 2 a lot. I've only played Pikmin 3 once, and I'm currently on my second playthrough of Pikmin 4. And I have a lot of things to say about Pikmin 4, but maybe one day I'll make a video essay about it. But I love this game. It's not everyone's cup of tea, clearly, because when this game came out, it did not sell well. But Pikmin's always hung in there as IP. The Pikmin themselves are pretty marketable in the sense because they're cute. They're very simple in their design. It's very Nintendo. You know, it's not a very good description, but I mean, it's definitely a Nintendo product.
Yeah.
They do
seen
like
plushies
using the
of them.
Pikmin. Yeah, they do like using the Pikmin in like advertisements and stuff like that. Just weirdly enough, the mainline series does not sell as well as like nearly as well, not even a fraction as well as like Mario or Donkey Kong or Zelda.
They had a lot
I mean,
of Pikmin toys in the mall in Japan.
Yeah, they are marketable. Yeah,
But
So I'm sure-
it's not really like because like when I started playing this game, I didn't really know what to expect because the advertisements for the game weren't really that descriptive of what it really was. So it's just like even I didn't know what I was getting into despite seeing the commercials. So it's like a lot of this stuff was like really surprising and shocking to learn what it really is. But so it's just like it was so. Well, I wasn't like before playing it. I was like nowhere near interested in actually playing it. But now it's like I understand. Now that I understand what it really is, it's like it's like might actually be interested in the other games. So it's just like a weird first impression that no one really has because it's just like not super great marketing for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The only reason I was interested in it because I had a subscription to Nintendo Power at the time, and I saw the as I've learned about myself, I like creature collectors. I do like RTSs, and while this isn't a creature collector, you're still using like this giant mob of creatures in order to accomplish goals and stuff like that, and like an army, you know, general leading an army sort of fashion. So I was interested in it, but I only knew about it because I had a magazine that I was subscribed to. And if anyone is ever, you know, interested in Pikmin beyond this, like this game is, despite its flaws and its shortcomings and whatnot, if you're still interested in it, I do recommend Pikmin 2 because I feel like Pikmin 2, though it is harder, is like the best one in the franchise. It removes the time limit thing, so if that's like a turn off for you, you know, that's not an issue. there really is no kind of like lose condition. It just depends on how long it's going to take you to do everything. So it's a bit more chill in that regard, but its big difference is that Pikmin 2 has a lot of focus on like dungeons and stuff like that, and a lot more combat rather than like efficiency, I suppose. More like careful management of your Pikmin. That one has more careful management because in the dungeons you're cut off from Pikmin production. So when you go in with your 100 squad, that's what you have to work with till the end, and you beat a boss and then come out. So it has a lot more to do with your actual management of your squad rather than your time. But this game is not like that. This game you can afford to lose a shit ton of Pikmin and get them all back, no problem. But yeah, I love this game. If I were going to give it a number value, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. And I'm saying that even trying to take into account its shortcomings. I think it's a fantastic game, and more people need to give it a shot, and you'll realize how much better the game gets the more better you get at it. Because if people like Dark Souls can say it, I can too. Get fucking good. So I would give this game an 8 out of 10. It's wonderful. The soundtrack is wonderful. The character design and the visuals are wonderful. Probably its worst shortcoming is that some of its controls are a little janky and it doesn't explain a few small things very well. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic game. I absolutely adore Pikmin and would love to keep playing it, and I would love to see everyone play Pikmin 2 at some point in the future. So we'll just start with Jordan and go, Jordan, Edwin, Corey, and tell me what your final thoughts are on the game, if you were going to give it a score, and what if you would still be interested in playing Pikmin past this point.
So, going ahead to starting off with the game, it did take me some getting used to. The controls were definitely different than what I'm used to playing. I would have to, do the whole separate them and figure out what we had to do. That was a little bit, I don't know, it was kind of annoying for me because I was really hoping that I could just throw them and it would just do the damage that they wanted to. But of course, they all have their specialities on themselves. So I would then learn that was actually all to play out. So it kind of opened my eye a little bit more. But again, I'm not really fun about the timer. That definitely drops a lot of I guess, love that I have for it, just because again I don't like being rushed with shit. If I'm gonna be the slower guy that takes longer but I can still get it accomplished, I'm fine with that. But the fact that I didn't get an end, I didn't get a good ending at all just because I didn't solve it. I mean, that's my problem, really. I get that. But it doesn't mean I'm going to be done with it. I'm probably going to take another swing at it. Like I said, I'm probably going to play the Wii one to see how that fits, since I did get a little bit more better understanding of how the whole game works out. So I probably wouldn't eat up as much time. I probably will continue on with it. I think that possibly, like what's being said, now that it's being said, there's no timer. That's awesome. That would definitely be a huge win for me. I could definitely see myself continuing to see what kind of other creatures that they had, because they did have some pretty unique creatures in this game. I did know that you're just constantly going to see basically that ladybug thing, and just changed colors a couple of things. There's only a couple of levels, but they did add a lot of issues with the whole freaking formality, how they had everybody form up a line and then they would just scatter and piss you off from here and there, and you would have some enemies which can be assholes. I know that you can have bad guys in the game, but just the amount of fucking anger you get from just these dudes, what they do to your characters, just really pisses me off.
Like what's happening in the video right now. This is
now watch this.
Trolling
now
him
you
so
can look
hard.
at my solution that I take once I get tired of this.
God.
Yeah, it'll take a second. Keep talking, but just watch what I do.
Yeah,
in
see
response to
that
this.
fucking blowing your nose thing, which I know it does no damage, but for some weird reason, I always get the bad end of it, where he would just blow my fucking people near those giant ladybugs, and then they'd kill my people, or I'd blow them in the water, and they can't fucking swim. And yeah, I was really pissed off with the whole amount of that they would have that set up to where it looks like they're literally walking around a fucking 5 inches of water and they're just drowning. And I'm like, you fucking learn to swim, for God's sakes. And they just don't. And it pisses you off. And a lot of those bosses there, they do make them more impactful when you come across them. They don't seem like the ones that you can literally just take out with a one single swing. And that's the good part about it, because I do like the challenging bosses that come about, because it makes you basically try to get ready before the big swing happens and then you're just like, okay, here it comes. So it adds more impact to how the game is going to be basically pulling you in, rather than it be, I just knocked everybody out, it's a very easy win, next target, and then it just becomes less enjoying. So that's the one part that I can say that really keeps me like constantly wanting to figure out what the next boss is going to look like and then what I'm going to come across. But the fact that it's just such a simple way to lose your fleet, it, I guess to some extent people probably would enjoy it. I don't. That just really upsets me when I'm like, I went through all this trouble to gather up my entire team and then they're just eradicated within seconds and then I got to start all over. So for me personally, with the experience that I was getting to get to my point where I am now, I'm not going to give it off as I didn't like the game because I just can't, I suck at it. That's not the game's fault. That's me. The design of the game was to be challenging. You got to figure out what characters to use, how to go about with these certain types of battles you're going to do based on what their weaknesses are and what strengths your team will have, and you just got to be able to learn that properly. And it's just like I don't know what to think of it besides that I'll just have to get better at the game in the future. So for me personally, I'm going to have to say I'll score it maybe a 7 out of it. Not to give it any hate. Again, it's just the huge amount of times where I've came across things that I think could have easily been avoided, but just how everything had playing in with the character design on it, because they would definitely run off and go lick some shit, or be like, go play with the grass and something like, I need you right now, and this guy's throwing my people around the garbage and this guy's eating my people, but this guy's fucking having the time of his life playing with some grass, and that really pisses me off. And I know that they're probably using that to be cute, like, look at this, you guys have actually like personalities and stuff, they can go out and do stuff and have fun, and things caught them off guard because they're very single-minded with what they're doing. So if something easy, like, ooh, look at that bright light, and then they're just off and they're not paying attention, maybe make it more full of life. But it was not a huge goal for me. So I would probably say that it's not going to stop me from going ahead and playing 2, 3, and 4. I really want to give it a shot, but this one, again, was the very first one of its kind. It came out, and they were giving it a shot. I think it did very well with the visuals. Everything looks really pretty. The music is great. But it's just the gameplay itself for me. It's a little tough, but I do still think that there's probably going to be a lot of improvement in the second one.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're going to enjoy. You're kind of the person that they're starting to make the more modern Pikmin games you get, the more they try and make this more accessible to more people. It already sounds like you're going to like Pikmin 2 like a vastly more. They definitely keep trying to make Pikmin more accessible to a broader audience. It's a double-edged sword in my opinion, but I can't deny that it has brought more people into Pikmin, and it is a more pleasurable, less sweaty experience to play. So I would be interested in seeing how you'd react to Pikmin 2, even Pikmin 4, mostly. Yeah, all right then. So Edwin, you go.
So it's like, I like the game and idea overall. It has its own specific issues. I think when we started, Corey and I were like taking notes on the issues that we were having like while we were playing. But I think we immediately I think Corey said just not do that, because obviously there's like remasters of this game that probably fixed the issues that we were writing down anyway. So we kind of threw that idea out the window. But this is like the very first iteration of the Pikmin, and it's in original state, the GameCube one that we all did play. I like the idea and the execution of the game overall. However, while I did like it, this is not exactly the type of game that I would normally play. And the way that you said it, this game is like to specifically play multiple times and just to be faster with each run. While I like the replayability in games, this is not one of those games for me, because the thing about the replayability, it depends on how differently I can play. I don't care if I can play better or faster. I just want like a completely different experience overall. Because comparing reruns between this and I guess Elden Ring, which is like the last one that I've been doing a lot of replayability, is that this one is more or less the same. I can't really. I just like play a little bit differently, but still doing the exact same thing. Meanwhile, in something like it's not a totally fair comparison, but it's like the the type of thing that I'm interested in. Well, this one is just like, oh, you're just better and you're faster at beating the game. It was like I'm not a speed runner. I don't really care uh, about any of that. And it was like I just care about how differently I go about the game. So like for Elden Ring, it would be like, oh, I can just play different builds and then just like go do different directions and do everything differently. It's a completely different experience because I have full control over the customability of how I want to play the game. It's not super linear. So it's like that's what gets me to replay a game, not just like faster timers or high scores. So like I beat this game once and then that'll be it. I didn't hate it. It's like it's not going to stop me from playing other Pikmin if I get the chance. So I liked it that much that I would play the later series. But most of the complaints I already said before. It's just like the pathfinding, the command of the Pikmin, the controls like all over the controller, and I can't just press all the buttons unless I hold the controller weirdly. So it's just like some things like that, and then like some other nitpicky things I won't mention. I for me specifically, I'll kind of be between both of your scores. I mean, like a 7.5. It was like it's definitely a game if people are interested in RTS even remotely. Like I like this one more than I would play like something like Halo Wars. So it's like this one does deserve a chance to be played, but rerun wise for me, no. So they got 7.5 for me overall because like said before, like the remasters probably function better than this. I'm curious to know how, or if that really is just the simple truth. But I'm more curious about like the other iterations of the game. So it's like the thing that you mentioned about the later one, the dog makes the game too easy. It's like I'm a little worried about that, but I'm curious about the second one where you say it's like a little bit harder. But I'm really interested in like the 2-player part of it.
Yep. Like I'm trying not to repeat myself, but I'm just gonna say the same thing I almost told Jordan. It sounds like it did pique your interest, but you're definitely probably going to like the sequels better than the first one because the first one is a unique experience among Pikmin. The second one on kind of more solidifies what the game is about. Um, or like what the majority of them is about. Removing time limits and not focusing as much on efficiency and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm glad you liked it enough to try and you'll look at the other ones, but I definitely don't blame anyone for not liking the first one as much, but enough to intrigue them in the future ones. So I would just suggest again, just keep playing the other ones. Play Pikmin 2, play Pikmin 4. And then finally, Corey. Now with you, what did you think about it when you first played it? If you can remember, like way back when, and has your thoughts changed on it since then?
Definitely changed. I mean, like I have played other Pikmin games. I have Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. I didn't get Pikmin 4 though, but when I played it as a kid, the art style and stuff. I think I even had the strategy guide at some point. I don't even know. I probably got lost in the move. Like I lost a bunch of shit, but that's what happens when you ship all your crap across the country. The game itself was kind of weird to me. Like the micromanaging thing, just kind of the timer. I didn't really enjoy what it was, but I also was playing like more action, mature, like gritty games. So it just like I don't know, it didn't like mesh with me. But I had friends that enjoyed playing it too. Like when they'd come over, like they'd play it on like GameCube while I was playing something else or whatever, and um like going through it with Edwin this time around, I was like, oh, I can kind of appreciate the like this micro experience that the game kind of provides. I mean, it being technically 5 levels, but it's a really quick playthrough, like you said, with like ramping up your own, beating your own score. It feels like a very arcade version of an RTS, which is kind of neat. And I'm more or less like, I would play Pikmin 2 if, since it's co-op. I would play that with Edwin as well at some point. I'm sure that we're going to play the next game of the month together, so that'll be fun. But I would give this probably an 8 as well. I mean, it's a pretty solid game. It has a really good game loop. I could see the replayability in it because it's not so heavily like story based. It's all just about like the gameplay, and that's it. So it is one of those. It's just an arcade experience that is kind of fun because you can just turn it on, fuck around. You not even if you're trying to beat it, if you just want to kill some time just to see how you do in one thing or another. It's just kind of enjoyable to throw Pikmin at stuff and do things.
Alrighty then. I'm glad we came away with such a positive outlook despite its problems. I wish I could have uploaded my full playthrough of replaying this. Unfortunately, I did not record the game audio, but oh no, I'll just have to play Pikmin again and recording the game audio. But yeah, sorry we didn't do Minecraft. As Corey alluded to, we are going to do Gears of War for the next game of the month, just because we want to. No particular reason. This time we're not lying, hopefully. Because I know we said we were going to do Minecraft last month, and that didn't happen.
I went and bought Gears of War on 360 so that I can do.
Oh
this.
no, you've just wasted all of $12. Yeah, but we're gonna play Gears of War. Should be fun. Good solid Xbox game. But glad everyone had fun with this one. Even though we had to pivot to it at the last second, I'm glad we had a good conversation about it. So if you want to, Jordan, you can go ahead and take us out then.
All right, well, thank you, Udon, for running us through that overview. It was great. We'll be able to get to see everybody's insights of the game. Again, it was really great for all of us to be able to get that experience out there. Unfortunately, again, I didn't get to make it to the very end, but I did have a very good, humbling experience with it that's going to hopefully push us all to play the next upcoming Pikmin in the future. So, all right. So I guess.
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.